Hi felters and crafters and welcome. My name is Philippa and I run a needle felting business from West Yorkshire in England. Today I'm going to talk you through running a workshop. I recently had 2 workshops over a couple of weekends and I recorded everything for you, and I'm going to talk you through exactly how I organised it, how it went, how much I earned. So let's get started. So the first part of this video, I'm just going to talk through all of the things that I considered before the workshop, leading up to it, in case it's something you're thinking of doing for your business. So I've been running my business for about 4 or 5 years now, and I do online courses, PDFs. I sell items in Etsy and at craft fairs, and I also have a YouTube channel for beginners. And over the years, people have asked me if I do workshops. So I have been waiting until the time felt right and I felt confident enough to do it. So things to consider before the workshop. Number 1 is venue. I went through quite a few venues. It definitely had to have disability access, which ruled out a lot of places for me. The prices ranged from nothing through to £30. So the £30 mark was a social working place, absolutely way too expensive. Some village halls were about £20 an hour. An awful lot of money, but a possibility, but I found disability access very limited. Then I also found quite a few places or village halls would have, because I needed it for all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and it was going to be 2 sets of weekends. They would have bookings like a dance class on or something else. So I couldn't have the venue for the whole Saturday and Sunday, so that was a little bit tricky. And then the place that was free was great, but it was in a quite a large cafe, and people wouldn't be able to, they would have to purchase the teas and coffees and cakes. I wouldn't have been able to make them for them, and I think that should be included in the price. They shouldn't have had to pay for it. And because it was an open venue, lots of people would be walking around and watching. And for the course that I was offering, I felt they should have had a more private space and not have distractions from people walking around. And as it happened, we did have the door open where we were in the end, and people were sort of peering in and very interested in what was going on. So I can imagine being in a cafe in the centre, I would have had a lot of people asking what we were doing and interrupting, and I didn't feel that that was fair on the people that came on the course. So in the end, I chose a room attached to a church hall, and it was fantastic, right in the centre of my village, Holmfirth, so people could get out, get food that they wanted, because I didn't provide lunch, which we'll talk about in a minute. And yeah, it was a really good venue and a fantastic price in the end. But look around for your venues. Don't go for the first one. Keep looking around. I had to consider numbers. That was very important because it's quite an intense course. It was for sort of intermediate needle felters. 6 was going to be my maximum. I have to say that was the perfect number of people. I was able to keep up with everybody's work very, very easily. If I was doing a beginner workshop, which was slightly less intense, I think 8 would still be my maximum for myself on my own. If you have someone helping you, you could easily get up to 10, maybe 12. Personally, 6 was the best number and 8 would be pushing it, but I could probably cope with 8. Advertising, you're going to have to look where you're going to advertise. I put it on Facebook groups, I put it on my Instagram and on my YouTube. And in the end, I felt like I didn't want to do it anywhere else. I had covered most of my social media sites, but I didn't want to keep pushing it and keep pushing it. So we'll talk about how the course is booked up in a minute. So dates, definitely look at dates and make sure there's no clashes. You're not booking it on a Mother's Day or on a Father's Day. Because I think people are less likely to book on those days. And also in my village, we have quite a few festivals. So I didn't want it to clash with the festivals because people wouldn't be able to get parking. So really check your dates thoroughly, that you're not clashing with some big event or big, I wouldn't book in the summer holidays. And the other thing for dates for my area is that we get quite a bit of snow. So I probably wouldn't book through November through to even April. Well, maybe I would do April. But yeah, so for me, the weather was a big thing. I definitely am not going to book workshops over that winter period where we would get snow. So the other thing to consider is insurance. I know that if you go to a craft fair in the UK, you have to have insurance for pretty much most craft fairs here. I am part of the International Felt Makers Association. They also send out a magazine, but part of that membership is you're insured for craft fairs, and I read up and it covers workshops as well. Obviously it has to be wool related, or at least your products have to be the majority wool. I believe you'd have to, if you were doing something else, you'd have to go up and read on the writing. But that was really good because the magazine membership is about £44, I think, a year. It might have changed slightly. And I was getting quotes of about 130 from insurance companies to be insured for just the workshop for those 2 weekends. So definitely have a look at insurance, make sure you're covered. I used to be in a career where I did first aid training every 6 months. So for me, I felt a responsibility towards having these people here with me for 2 whole days. So I did a first aid at work online. It was not the full certificate because you'd have to go and do that for a whole day somewhere, but it was just a jogger and a refresher, and I'm really pleased I did it, and so I got a little certificate. All the supplies, so you have to price up all the supplies before you set the cost for the workshop. You do not want any scary miscalculations, shall we say. So I definitely went through and wrote down every single supply that I needed, and you'll see because it was my first set of workshops, it was quite expensive because I needed all of the base items, which I'll run through in a bit. Cancellation policy, really important to go through. What is your cancellation policy? Because once you've secured the room, you've got to pay for it, and if someone cancels the day before, that's kind of unfair on your business. So I had a thorough cancellation policy leading up to 4 weeks before, 2 weeks before, and the week before. And obviously, if I was able to fill the space, then that wouldn't have been a problem and I would be able to refund someone. But if I couldn't fill the space in time, then I think you definitely need to thoroughly consider your cancellation policy to protect yourself. And make sure it's clear that when people buy the course, they are agreeing to the cancellation policy as well. I did a lot of practice on the lead up to it to make sure I knew exactly how to repeat and teach what I was showing people. It sounds silly, you know how to do something, but sitting there and explaining it to people is a different matter. So I did a lot of practice, and I also wrote down the order of play, the order of creation throughout the 2 days, so I knew where we should be, which I'll show you that in a minute. When people booked, so I have a Squarespace website and I put the workshops on there, which made my life very easy because all of the exchange of money was done through that. I obviously lost a very small percentage to the card company, but I'm quite happy, and it made my life very easy that someone just purchased it through there. But once they had purchased, then I would send out a confirmation booking email just to run through everything again, which was really lovely, and most people replied to that. And then on the lead up to it, about a week before, I also sent out a reminder email, shall we say, just to sort of let people know again what the sat-nav code was for the car park and other bits and bobs and the time to be there. So think about those emails that you're going to send to people. So I did tea, coffee, biscuits, cakes, and asked people to bring their own lunch because I find unless you were to go and get someone to do sandwiches, that's a little bit extra work, and that's not something I wanted to have the stress of on the day. So lunch places was very easy for people, so that is a consideration. If there's nowhere for somebody to buy lunch, you have to really make that clear on the sort of confirmation email you send out. Make sure that they know they should bring lunch with them. I also got people to fill out an emergency contact form when they arrived, to put their details on in case anything happened. And I also had a feedback form, which was something I really wanted to do. It was a really small one, and they just filled it in, and you have to sort of remind them towards the end, just pop a few words on, and it's anonymous. Something I didn't think about properly was extra things that people might want to purchase. And when we got there to the first day, several people asked for some kits and some bags, which I'll talk you through, but that's something you might want to pre-consider what items you're going to take down that people might be able to purchase from you. On the lead up to my workshops, I went to 3 other workshops with some very talented ladies, and it really helped me frame the order of play for my workshop and how I was going to run things. And also I learned a lot as well. So it was a good investment in yourself, but it's also good to be at a workshop to know what it feels like. It's little things like somebody might have booked with me, but they don't know what I look like. So when they walk in the room, I had a name badge on and it said, "Hi, I'm Philippa. What's your name?" And so I can tick them off the list and say, "Would you like a tea or coffee?" and just make it all relaxed. So just little things like that, so that people are know they're at the right place and they're reassured, and it gets off to a good start. So definitely go to some other workshops to experience what it's like to be somebody going to a workshop. So that's most of the things I considered before the workshop. So now I'm just going to run through all the supplies and we'll talk about how I organised all of that. Then we're going to go through the whole weekend and I'll show you the second weekend as well in brief. And then we'll talk about how everything went and the prices and would I do it again. So I bought these containers off Amazon. I think they're really useful, and also I'm going to use them to store my felts in because they're sort of a nice height. I will link them in my Amazon shop. So we've got rulers. I got 6 rulers. They're really useful as cutting tools as well for the Fimo clay, because that's what I use when I'm making shapes with my Fimo clay. Bostik all-purpose glue, I've got 6 of those. Then I've got Fimo clay for the horns and hooves. I'm taking a tape measure just because. I've got plasters. Then we have pens in here, spare pens. I'm taking the needle codes just to help people. We have got, no, don't need those are spares. So I've got wipes just as an extra because the Fimo clay goes everywhere. Spare wire, pre-cut wire for myself. Then I've got an antibacterial gel, string to help with shaping some of the things. I've got spare clover pens for people to purchase off me if they want to. That will be included in the email. Then I've got scissors. I've actually got 7 pairs there because I'm going to need a pair. Then we've got flat nose pliers. I ended up getting 2 different types, which I wish I'd got all the small ones, but I didn't find them till I had to go back and order the second lot. And then we've got awls or owls for everybody, so they've got 1 each. I'm going to take finger guards just in case. And then I thought if one person asks, and then everyone goes, "Oh, I want some." So I have to take 6 pairs. We've got eyes, specific eyes, and then I've got lots of spare needles as well for people breaking needles. So that's everything in there. And then these are the kit boxes. There's going to be on the table in front of everybody. I'll run through those in a minute afterwards. And then I've got the start of sort of the food and drinks, because we're going to have to supply teas, coffees and everything. So I'll show you that when it's all done, and a soap in case they don't have a soap down there. I've also got a mat for everybody, although people might bring their own mat. And then this is order of place, so I know what or how far we should be along. So at lunchtime, we should have finished doing the head area and stuff like that. And then I've got my framework for doing the wire armature. These are stickers I had. So I just put "Felts by Philippa, please return." So I've popped it on these items like the scissors so that people, it won't focus. So people know to return them to me, because I can't be forking out for those sort of things every time for workshops. But yeah, so that's it in general. And then this one here is full of the wool. So there's lots of spare wool, even though I've supplied some wool in there. I've got lots of spare wool in here as well. So it's quite a lot of stuff already without the food too. So you've got to sort of be prepared to unload it all on the day. So you've got to be nice and early. So I've done everybody a kit box just to show you what's in them. So we've got the colour of wool for the coat, eyes, ears, nose and mouth. That's for the coat as well. Got pipe cleaners, got the wire pre-cut and lengths ready to save us time. Got information about me, plaster, which we talked about, needles, so that they've got some ready, though I've got loads of extra needles, so I've got lots more. And then picture with the framework we're going to be following. Then we've got some reference pictures printed out just of General Herdwick's feedback form, which I want them to fill out afterwards, and then emergency contact form as soon as they arrive, string to help with some of the work we're doing, and then I'm giving them a little notepad and a pen for writing things down. So I've kept out of here the Fimo clay. I'm going to keep that sealed until we actually get into it. So yeah, nice little box for them. And here's the first aid training that I did online. Really simple, quick course, just a little jogging my memory, and there's the certificate that I got. So here's my pile already. That's the boxes. Extra, that really is extra spare. And then I've got wool, all my kit stuff, and that's all food and drink. I just have to pick up milk, and I'm also taking a selection of pieces to show them. So yeah, it looks like quite a lot, but I think it's worth it having everything being prepared. So here we are at the Methodist church, and you walk in and we had the country market on. There was a stall selling at the side. We had the car park just behind us, and then the village is literally sort of about 100, 200 metres away. So it was nice for all the ladies to pop in and do a bit of shopping in our breaks. So this is the room. It's not massive, but it certainly was perfect. I laid out, this was the first workshop, so I laid out my items here. I took some books down because I thought that was interesting for people. Those are the stages of the Herdwick that I had all laid out. I also had name tags for people to fill in, to write their names front and back, and that is purely for me. I didn't want them to have to wear them on them, so I thought we'd put them on the table. And then this is all the boxes open and at the side, which worked really well for me to be able to access everything. Before everyone arrived, I had all the mugs ready, washed. You have to make sure you've got teaspoons and everything is provided by the place you're at. So this was the first, I think it was probably lunch break. Now these items here are not mine. I asked people to bring a felt or a creation of their own if they wanted to. They didn't have to. And the items they bought were fantastic for us to see, to talk about, to break the ice. I was so impressed with the felting that I saw. So it was a really lovely thing for people to do. And I had to make sure we all had cups of tea as we went along. So lots of stabbing was done. And I did tell people to bring a clover pen or a multi-needle tool if they could. So this is day one of the workshop. All good so far. So it's day two of the workshops. I didn't do a debrief last night because I was really I was quite tired. I wasn't as bad as I thought I would be, actually. My throat was a bit sore just because I hadn't drunk enough. So I'm going to try and drink a bit more today. But I'm so pleased with the progress of where we're at. We're on track. It's in a slightly different order to what I planned, but that's fine. The oven worked, which was the thing I was really worried about to cook the Fimo clay, because it's a place you don't know. And the horns and the hooves have come out really well. So really happy with where we are with the progress. Everybody is doing so well. Everyone's lovely. Everyone is so lovely. And for a first workshop, I couldn't have had a nicer group of ladies. They are so lovely. So some of them wanted some of my kits and bags, which was unexpected to me. So I'll show you those. I'm taking those down tonight. And it's a slightly later start today for me because I don't have to set everything up. Milk. I have to remember the milk. I'll go and get that now. But yeah, we're going down in about 10 minutes. And so here are some of the kits that the ladies wanted, which is really, it's not something I thought of doing because they're sort of more intermediate. But I mean, these hair kits are really good. And someone wants my new mushroom kit as well. So I was really pleased about that. And there's some bags for them to put them in. And then they were interested in some of my bags. So I'm just taking a selection down. Highland cows, and then one more. There's a nice mushroom one. I haven't got tons of bags. And then in the hall that we're based in, so we're in a room within the Methodist church, and in the hall beside it, they had a country market, which was really great because all the ladies, when we had breaks, could just pop in and do a bit of shopping, and they bought some plants and cakes. And I went in and this lady was selling project bags. Aren't they beautiful? £8 and £10.50. I think this one's lovely. It's so gorgeous. So yeah, I sort of quickly grabbed those. I'm going to have to come up with some more projects for them. And I just have to say that one of the ladies, Andrea, bought me these mushroom earrings as a gift. That was so, so kind of her and so unexpected. But they are perfect. And I was wearing my crochet mushroom earrings yesterday. And she knows I love who doesn't? If you watch my channel, we all love mushrooms. But yeah, that was so unexpected and super, super kind. Thank you so much, Andrea. And then I didn't manage to get any final video footage of the Herdwicks, but I've got a lineup of them all done. And we couldn't quite finish the horns and the top knots. That has to be done at home, but they did a brilliant job. So this is jumping on to the next week. Slight changes. I took my banner down. I took bags down ready. And I had a few more bits and pieces laid out. So I had the Fimo clay already, extra wires. And here we are cracking on with the Highland cow. And these are some of the pieces that the ladies bought. Look at that, just brilliant. And that is Dobby, and that was Vicky, who, it was her second make. Can you believe it? And then that dinosaur is beautiful. And just behind the dinosaur was her little frog that she'd made. This is Karina. But yeah, it was lovely to have those pieces brought down as well. So here they are, little faces appearing. I haven't sort of videoed as much for the second one for you, but you can see the little characters coming out. And again, we finished half an hour early actually, and it's the same things. We can't glue the horns in and do the top knot, but there you go. So that's how both weekends went. I hope that gave you sort of a good overview of it. So feedback forms were all filled in. I got some amazing feedback. I kind of saved them till I got home and sat down and quietly read them myself. And everyone was very happy. And I didn't have any comments of improving things. So that was really, really good. Everyone was very polite, and the feedback forms are anonymous. So hopefully people felt that if there was something I should improve, they could write it down. I did learn quite a lot from the first workshop that I changed to the second. Certain things with my wire armature I changed slightly. With the way in which I created the hooves I changed a little bit. So it was a learning process for me from that point of view, but also for the way in which I got things ready. So I weighed out the Fimo clay for the horns and had that all ready rather than having to cut it up, because I kind of thought I'll keep it fresh. But in the end, it was far quicker to have it already cut up for people. And a couple of other things that I hadn't quite laid out. So the wire for the horns and things like that. So I learned an awful lot from the first workshop, which I transferred to the second. And I think that's a continual learning process. But everybody finished their items, or finished them to the stage that we could, because we couldn't glue the horns in because you normally leave them overnight. So they took the glue home and they knew exactly how to do it. But everyone got to the stage where they were all very similar and had practically finished. So I felt from my point of view that I had passed on the knowledge for them to do those items. But yeah, I was really, really happy with how both the workshops went and what people achieved. So let's go through costs. So workshop costs, food and drink, £30.25. Oh, so obviously I had 6 people for the Herdwick workshop. That booked up instantly, like in a couple of days. And then the Highland Cow workshop, I had 4 people booked up quite quickly. One person then had to cancel for personal reasons. Completely fine. People are allowed to cancel, and you've got that cancellation policy there because of it. But I pushed it a little bit towards the end of my social media, but I didn't want to keep pushing it. Maybe I should have, I don't know. But I only had 3 people. So I had fully booked and then half booked. So food and drink, £30.25. This is for both workshops put together, because I feel that's a more, if I just did it on the Herdwick one, it would seem very successful. So I'm just going to put it together over both of them. Supplies was £220.24. Now supplies for the first workshop was a lot because it was my first workshop. But for the second workshop, supplies separately, probably like for the next one I do, supplies would be far, far less, probably about £40. So you've got to take that into consideration, that once you've got all the supplies bought, you're sort of going to earn the money back on them the more workshops you do. Wool was £124.55, but I do have quite a bit left over, but I always would rather have more than less. Room hire, I haven't physically been invoiced yet, but I know what we agreed on was it's £360 in total. And then first aid training was £15, and then credit card fees for people booking on my website was £22.50. So that comes to £772.04 for costs. Total earnings, £1,125. So profit, as is with the 6 people and the 3 people, is £352.50. So my overriding factor is I made a profit for my first workshops. I'm really, really happy. and that came to £88 a day, a very good wage, but I did do a lot of work leading up to it that I haven't added on. So for organising my website and doing all the pictures, that took a while. For doing all the practices, that took a while. It's quite good really, because when I was on the workshop, I half made up a sheep and a cow, so I've literally just finished those. So I've come out of the workshop with some felted items as well, so that's something that sort of hasn't gone into the factor of the money. Had it been fully booked, it would have been a profit of £727.50, which would be fantastic, and £181 a day. So that's a really good wage. I would be really happy with that. So it's something to consider when you do your workshop. What level are you making a profit at? Would I do it again? Do you know what? Absolutely yes, because I kind of felt I wasn't sure if it was going to be quite a lot of interaction with people. I'm okay with talking to people, but would I feel it would be too much? But it wasn't, because it was on such a personal level. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. I really felt I could help people with their needle felting, and I feel that they learnt stuff. So would I do it again? Yes. And am I planning some more? Yes. So in September and October time, I think I'm going to have different animals, but yeah, I think I'm going to do a couple more workshops. So I hope this has helped you if you're thinking about doing your own workshop. I know I had a good look round on YouTube before I started mine, and Amanda from Fit to Be Loved does have a very good video too, so go and have a look at that. She did put in about plasters, and I hadn't even thought to consider taking plasters, so thank you, Amanda. She has some very good tips and helpful advice. But yeah, if you're thinking about doing it, I recommend giving it a go, trying it out, making sure you plan thoroughly, good venue, cancellation policy, all those things. So if you are interested in running your own business, I have a huge business playlist which will really help you. It's all free, and I'll link it up here. So thanks for watching. Maybe join on and watch my monthly vlogs if you want to see how I'm running my business on a monthly basis, and it will also include my next workshops that I'll be doing. So thanks for watching, take care, and see you again soon.